p.m. Right now, we're separating the fair from the foul in a segment called Fair or Foul that will start with a foul ball. So there's a lot there.
And it was also very controversial in our morning meeting. We agreed on the name of the segment, and then Wild said, and I quote, "I am not going to say that." So I'm curious how this plays out.
Just felt a little hokey.
Okay, that's fine. I'm just letting you know.
Bottom of the
Hokier
first.
than something or
with
nothing.
a pop up to right. It's carrying towards the stands. Mookie makes the catch, but the fans try to pry the ball away and succeed.
Yeah.
Brew,
Can I go first on this,
okay,
please?
Nick,
Thank you,
your
Brew.
reaction.
Sorry. I
Fair or
find this
foul?
foul.
Obviously.
Literally,
That's why I didn't want to say it.
figuratively.
What a surprise.
It literally foul ball. Also, literally, it's foul behavior. And I read some, not just like local, like Yankee fan media, national media, lionizing these dopes.
Come on.
Are you serious?
100%. And listen, I am not a moralist, and I actually have a very wide berth of momentary lapses in decision making. Like, oh, I shouldn't have reached over. Oh, I did interfere. I don't even know, like Bartman type situations, if those people should be kicked out of the game, even if they do interfere with a live ball. Like what this first guy did in particular, of the guy in the gray shirt, this part here where he is now twisting Mookie Betts' wrist backwards is so much more egregious than people that run on the field during the game. It is, again, I don't want to sound hysterical, but you could have seriously injured Mookie Betts. And so I found it repugnant, absolutely repugnant. I thought it was illegal, not just like kick you out of the stadium. I hated every second of it. It's not being a good fan. It's not helping the Yankees. You're almost hurting a player.
I'm with you. Obviously, it's foul. Shouldn't even have to say that. They should be banned
My point.
from this stadium for life. Period. Not just tonight's game, for life. They could have hurt Mookie Betts.
Yeah.
And I think the second guy is just as bad as the first, Nick, because he grabs a hold of Betts' wrist, and they could have broken his wrist. This is the equivalent of somebody sitting in the front row of an NBA game and tripping a player.
Oh, Larry
That's
David
what
did
this
that.
is.
Yeah,
just
Larry
jumping
David
out
did
there
that.
and tripping a guy as he runs along the sideline. So, no, this was terrible. This wasn't stuff we've seen in the past as far as interference. This was purposeful, and they could have very
And the
easily
ball's
hurt
already
one of the
caught.
best players in baseball.
The ball's already caught. They're not trying to prevent him from catching it. The ball's caught, and the point you made in this meeting was the best one.
Oh, I have a different point.
Oh, go ahead. See if it's better than the best one.
It is. Do you want to see the definition of locked in?
Yeah, sure.
My guy Mookie Betts.
absolutely.
He was asked about it. It doesn't matter. We lost. It's irrelevant. I'm fine. The fan is fine. Everything's cool. We lost the game, and that's what I'm focused on. We've got to turn the page and get ready for Game 5.
Okay.
Hold
That
on.
is
I bet
I
the
love
Yankees, I
that.
might have to change the
I
graphic.
couldn't like that anymore.
Yeah, that was great. That is actually good on Mookie Betts, and also good on Mookie Betts for running away after it was over, right? Like after it was over, he left and kind of let everyone else deal with it, which is definitely a pro. But I am 100% in agreement with Nick Wright, and this is funny to talk baseball now. This is actually closer to home more than anything baseball. So it's pretty funny to be able to cover baseball on here, but unfortunately it's in a bizarre situation. I agree with Nick, right? I'm also forgiving of momentary lapses of judgment and stuff like that, and being a moralist and all that, but this is actually more of a disgrace than I think maybe the average person may even realize. And Nick is now calling out like other media and fans or whatever for people who are lionizing it. Baseball has an insanely popular YouTube channel, social media presence of John Boy Media, and I'm not calling them out at all. I think they do awesome work there. I found them incredibly inspiring to start my own channel. So this is in no way, I cannot emphasize this enough, in no way anything bad about them. I think what they're actually doing for baseball is great because they really kind of took over baseball highlights for how it was traditionally done and stuff, and it's I feel like it's made baseball a lot more enjoyable and interesting, and so I really love what John Boy Media has done. But like they were laughing at this. And I understand because they like live stream the games or their reactions or whatever. And I only saw a short clip, and maybe afterwards they talked about it and said this is wrong and all that. But they were like laughing about it and were like, oh my God, this is insane. And like, to me, that's kind of what Nick Wright is kind of talking about in a way, because the only reaction you should have from this is kind of like, this is horrifying. Like, this is a disgrace. Like, even if you're a Yankees fan or whatever, you should put your head down and just be like, oh my God, right? Like, this is awful. This is like, throwing trash onto the field. It's worse than that, quite frankly, all those types of things. So your only reaction to this should be like, this is a disgrace. This is awful. Because Mookie Betts 1000% could hurt. His arm is in what's called, when you talk about physical fitness, in the stretched position. When you are in the stretched position, you are in your most vulnerable state. That is where your muscle is the most compromised. It's where majority of injuries are going to take place, right? The vast majority of injuries are in this stretched place. So when he's stretched out like this and up in the air also as well, when it won't take much. When you're in this position, it's a little hard to see. When you're in that stretched position, if your wrist goes back a little bit, if it twists your arm, your elbow, you have all these tendons. You could tear something, you could break something, and then when Mookie Betts brings his other arm and they grab the other arm, you're putting your entire body in such a compromised state that you absolutely it's not being kind of like being hysteric. Like, you absolutely could get hurt, and there's no question about it. I mean, it's as clear as day, and that's what makes it more horrifying. Even if there was no risk of injury, the idea that you're trying to rip the ball, right? Because I could get it if you're just kind of interfering and getting in the way and you're trying to catch the ball yourself. That's really frowned upon in baseball now, because there's been some big moments where that's happened, and fans do get removed from the stadium and all of that. But at least I can conceptually understand that, right? You can absolutely conceptually understand that. But trying to now rip the ball out of someone's glove, that is absolutely, undeniably indefensible. There's zero defense for it. Zero. I don't know if it means a lifetime ban. I'm always hesitant of these lifetime bans because I am forgiving of people making mistakes, and I understand that there maybe should be some sort of ban, but a forever ban? And again, I don't know how old these people are. Maybe they're, I don't know. I couldn't really tell if are they in their 20s, are they in their 40s? Like, I don't know. Alcohol involved, all that type of stuff. Like, we have people who are inebriated and do the worst things you could ever imagine, right? Like, literally, take away, people's entire present, future, and everything else, and devastated lives. And yet, they will pay repercussions, maybe go away for 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 years, but then they come back and they're able to like work, they're able to drive. You understand what I'm saying? So it's like, I don't know if this has to be 100% like you're banned for life. I don't know what an appropriate punishment should be, quite frankly. I wasn't even really thinking about it through that lens, because again, any type of permanent punishment always can make me feel a little uncomfortable to a degree. I'm not saying it's not warranted. I'm just thinking I'd have to think about it more. But I think Nick's reaction to this is 100% accurate and correct, and I think it is so much more worse than I think maybe the average person may even realize. It's completely indefensible. It's a disgrace. Nobody should be lionizing these fans. No media. Everybody should just have a universal feeling of disgust, which is why I found it surprising. That's how I saw this was from John Boy Media at first. I came across their clip and I saw them kind of like laughing about it, and they were like, they were like screaming and laughing about it, and I was just kind of like, this is weird. At first I just thought that they got in the way of it, and I was like, okay, I get it. You can laugh about that. But then when you see the replay more, I'm like, okay. So I want to follow up and watch because they do like short clips and long clips, and I kind of want to follow up and see. I assume when they actually talk about it more and unpack that clip more, I assume the guys who do John Boy Media, that they'll be like, this was awful, this was wrong, don't do this. But it was just that initial reaction that stood out to me, and I'm confident that that's probably what Nick Wright was also referring to, because again, if you don't know, John Boy Media is at this point is pretty much like the entire social media presence for Major League Baseball right now. It's really how many people are consuming, especially highlights like these, because they're not on the Herd, First Things First, or any of these shows. It's not talked about. The only time it's talked about is if they're doing something like live from Yankee Stadium or something like this where something pretty terrible happens. But this is pretty fun to talk about baseball. We'll see how many people actually end up watching this to begin with. But those are just my thoughts. I'd absolutely love to hear yours. What do you guys all think about this incident? What do you think should happen? Do you think people are making too big of a deal about it, too little of a deal? Is it fair or foul? Let me know in the comments below. I read every single comment, so whether you agree with me or disagree with me, either way, let's get in some discussions. Let's get in some fights, but ultimately, let's just have some fun. And please do consider subscribing. We are building an amazing community here, and I'd absolutely love to see you part of it. I want to build something that we all genuinely feel connected to, something that we're really excited to be part of. I think we're well on our way to doing it. And please don't forget to give this video a thumbs up, as it really does help with the visibility and the algorithm. Thank you so much. See you next time.